I'm David Boyle and I'm quitting alcohol. So the Bitcoin conference is over for 2025. Boyle has pulled off another miracle. That is the most stressful fucking gig of the year for me. There's nothing I can do about it either because you're going in blind. I don't know if any of the material's going to work. I'm writing it on the fly. Like this year, I really took it down to the wire. It wasn't until like the very last minute that I even thought I had enough to get through. And then I was like, I've got an hour. That was about 6:30. And then I was like, all right, it starts at 7. My gig starts at 7. So I have an hour just to run it through. And at 6:31, I was like, let me have a little look at my phone. I've got time. I've got plenty of time just to have a little scroll. So I looked at my phone and I've got messages everywhere from the organizers of the Bitcoin conference. They're like, where are you? And I was like, I'm just outside. And they're like, well, can you come? You're meant to be on. And I'm like, what? Isn't it started 7:30? They're like, no, 6:30. So I ended up rocking up. I was like, sorry, I saw it on the fucking sheet. I thought it was 7:30. And they're like, that's fine. Are you ready to go? And I couldn't be like, no, can I just have an hour just to run over the material I just finished like 3 or 4 minutes ago? So I was like, can you just give me like 10? Just give me 10 minutes. I'll be right. Because seriously, I just ran through it that one time and I thought I was going to be able to do it a few more times. But the fucking show must go on. And prior to that, I really fucking banged this one out. I wrote like fucking almost 15 minutes of material. I want to say in like 3 days, but it was really more like, let's say 4 hours, maybe 5 hours. But if you condensed it down to the time I actually spent going through it and writing, it's probably 2 hours. Because a lot of those 5 hours is just me scrolling, trying to avoid writing it. So I fucking ended up doing like 15 and it went well. I don't know how it went well. And I don't know how I got that much material in that little time. I'm really pushing the limits now. Like at lunchtime today, I was walking around the streets going over some material and I had half of it. And I ended up sitting down at a cricket field to write some material and I ended up watching the game, like some club cricket. Just a bunch of fat Indians and a couple of Australians versus a few Australians and a couple of fat Indians. But I loved watching it as well. So I spent a lot of time watching the cricket. It looked like maybe, 7th division or something like that. There was some serious ballies out there and not a lot of skill. Not a lot of skill out there at all. But it was pleasant. But around about that time I was sitting out there, I was like, well, I have half a set. And then I was like, it will come to me. It will come to me at some point. I've still got 5 hours left. And then I got sick of writing there. I maybe added like another minute or so there. And then I went back into the Bitcoin conference and I'm like, I need a little relax. I can't just be writing all day. And so I went into the Bitcoin conference and had a look at some of the speakers and that was all good. And it turned out 2 of the speakers were saying what I kind of wanted to say without the laughter. So that was confirming. So that gave me reason to chill out for another half hour. I still hadn't finished. I was like, I better come up with an ending at some point and probably a middle. And I need like 4 or 5 more punchlines. I need a few more jokes to get through this set. And then I walked outside and it was the Uni of New South Wales and they have a soccer field just out there. And I got distracted by the soccer for, let's say, 45 minutes. It was a fair while because I looked down at my watch or phone and I was like, holy shit, there's only like 2 hours left. I'm taking this one right down to the wire. And then I went out and the park I was yelling and screaming through my material at was full. And I'm like, where the fuck am I going to go? I need to talk through this material. Otherwise, it's not going to fucking come. And then eventually I was like, fuck it. I just have to yell in public in the park. There's nothing else I can do about it. I just have to do it. And so I pushed through. I came up with a few more ideas, couple more punchlines. I still had no ending. I was like, oh, fuck. How am I going to fucking wrap this all up? And then I came up with what I thought was the best line of the whole thing. I thought it was going to get a standing ovation and I was going to get carried off stage. And it turns out that was the only joke that completely fell dead. And it was the end of the set. It was the very last joke. And I was like, well, I thought that was going to get a lot more. Classic comedy. Classic. But I honestly did. That's why I put it at the end. I honestly thought I was going to get a standing O from it. And not only did it not hit, I don't even think people understood what I was talking about. I think I went even too niche for the Bitcoin crew. So when that fell flat, that was the end of the set. It'd been a good set up until then. Laughter, claps. There was one dude in the crowd, one Bitcoiner, and I've watched him on podcasts a lot. And I really like his analysis. His name's James Check, and he was laughing at he was the only one I really cared if they were laughing or not, and he was laughing quite a lot, so that was good. And yeah, apart from that last joke, which was my last joke, and I somehow had to exit the stage after a bomb, but it didn't really matter because I'd had a really good setup until then, and I did the classic cover up. Well, I thought that was going to do more, and then got off stage with some crap about I'm keeping my eye on you. It was good though, but fuck, I love the feeling. I tell you what I love. I love the feeling of that gig finishing. It's very stressful going up and doing a big chunk of material that you've never done before. You haven't really even rehearsed this year. At least last year, I'd really fucking nailed it down before I got on stage. This year, I was like, well, this could go anyway, but it came out smoothly. Something happens now, like you sort of just switch into gear. And the other thing is, I can just continue talking even if I make little mistakes. Like when you're a new comic, you feel like those little mistakes, everyone notices. No one notices anything. They barely even notice your punchline, let alone your little mistakes. So it's easy just to brush them off now. Not that I really made any mistakes, but, you know, it all ended up fucking good. So that's that for this year. I'm doing it again next year. They want me back next year, so I'll do it again. I actually kind of like doing it. I like that pressure. Like I was about to say, I don't think I even finished saying it, but doing this gig is very stressful. It's even more stressful than my normal gigs. My normal gigs are alright because you can just sort of like fucking phone it in if you need to, but this one, you've just got to be alert. You've got to be on it the whole time. So it's good. I'll continue doing it. God bless Bitcoin. That'll do for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you the fuck later.